welcome to Rolling VIN Verifiers. I'm David, and I'm going to talk to you about what is a VIN verification. So, a VIN verification is the process where, like myself, the VIN verifier comes to your home, your office, or maybe you have like a off-site garage somewhere, and I do a VIN verification on the vehicle. So what I'll be doing is comparing the VIN number that's on the vehicle to a document like a title or registration card. Now, there are a number of different documents that are accepted to compare the VIN to, but the most common ones that we'll talk about here today is just your title and your registration card. So, however, I do want to mention that if ever you start a process on registering a vehicle and you have an incomplete notice on that vehicle, then DMV is not going to accept that incomplete notice as a document to compare the VIN to. DMV will themselves have to do the verification in order to do that because you have no documents to compare the VIN to, no official documents. Because an incomplete notice is just basically the information that you provided DMV and they started it and nothing's been confirmed or verified yet. So continuing on. So what else besides the VIN number am I looking at? So we're going to be looking at the odometer. Every vehicle needs to have an odometer on it, and an odometer needs to be, or in other words, the odometer cluster has to be installed in the vehicle. It can't be set aside. It must be on the vehicle itself. The other thing we're going to be looking at, and there's other things that we're going to look at, and it's going to really depend upon the year model of the vehicle. So, for example, the next thing we'll look at is the U.S. federal label. So the U.S. federal label is just for vehicles for year models 1970 and newer. One of the important things to understand, and let me back up a bit. So the federal label, it's located on the door jamb area of your vehicle, or it should be. But one of the things I want to cover, it's important, is to understand that if you're going to be restoring this vehicle and painting it, it's important that you paint your tape over the federal label. Make sure any labels that are on that door jamb, tape over those. Do not paint over them. Tape over them. And it's very important that you don't remove the federal label during the painting process. Just tape over it and it should be suffice. I know it sounds weird, but it is something that has to be done. If the federal label is missing on the door jamb area, then the verification has to be transferred over to California Highway Patrol, who have to conduct their own verification as to and investigations to why that federal label is missing on that vehicle. Okay, moving along, the next thing we're going to be looking at is an emissions label. Not all vehicles are required to have an emissions label, and I'll cover that right now. So emission label, you're going to be looking at, let's say, all vehicles in general, standard, motor vehicles. You're going to look at 1968 and newer year model vehicles. If it's motorcycles, you're looking at 1970 and newer years. And if it's a heavy-duty vehicle, those are going to be your commercial vehicle, your semi-tractor trucks, you see going down the highway. Those are going to be 1979 and newer year models. The other category, and the last one we'll cover, is going to be the OHV, off-highway vehicles, or all-terrain vehicles. Those are going to be for 2003 and newer year models.